Putin's got a new travel plan. Not to Kiev, not to Crimea, but to Alaska. Why? Because that's where Trump says, "We talk peace," or "I tax your oil until it cries." It's the first time in this war Putin's boarded a plane for peace talks instead of a photo op in a tank. Who knew the road to ending the Ukraine war went through Sarah Palin's backyard? Welcome to PastCast, where the past echoes through the present. Trump's not allergic to war, he's just obsessed with being the guy who ends them. Where there's war, he smells a Nobel Prize. So he's pitching peace like a door-to-door salesman, except the product is "stop bombing each other," and the fine print says, "or I tariff your cheese." Some people collect stamps. Trump collects ceasefires. Zelenskyy got the Trump memo. Think about giving up land for peace. But Ukraine's a sovereign country. Handing out territory isn't something you outsource to a New York real estate mogul. Problem is, Ukraine can't win outright, and Zelenskyy knows it. When your war plan depends on France showing up with tanks, you might as well start knitting surrender flags. France says, "We might send troops." Germany says, "Over my dead budget." Ask when they'll deploy, and you get, "right after the war ends." That's not military support. That's bringing a fire extinguisher after the house is ash. Europe's strategy: promise to fight once there's nothing left to fight for. The Donbas is in eastern Ukraine, made up of two regions, Luhansk and Donetsk. It is rich in minerals, loaded with Russian speakers, and occupied since 2014 by Moscow's proxy republics. They're also half of the four regions Russia claims to have annexed, the others being Zaporizhzhia and Kherson. In 2022, under Russian control, they held a referendum to join Russia. The UN said illegal. Moscow said approved. Ukraine said, "Cool story, now please leave before the artillery arrives." When the election results come in at 99%, yes, either you're in North Korea or you're in Russian-occupied Donbas. Crimea is a warm, sunny peninsula in the Black Sea. It used to be part of Russia, but in 1954, the Soviet Union moved it to Ukraine. Back then, they were the same country, so nobody cared. When the USSR collapsed in 1991, Crimea stayed with Ukraine. Russia kept a big Navy base there, until 2014, when it sent in troops and took the whole place. A vote under military control claimed 95% wanted to join Russia. The UN said illegal. Russia said ours. Ukraine said we'll take it back. Nothing ruins a perfect tan like a missile launcher blocking the sunset. By August 2025, Russia still holds about 20% of Ukraine, roughly the size of Ohio. Since July, they've gained an extra Manhattan Island's worth of territory, inching forward in Donbas, Chasiv Yar, and near Zaporizhzhia. It's slow, bloody, and built on infantry, not blitzkrieg. Ukraine's answer? Zelenskyy says, no land swaps, no deals without us at the table, and no retreat from Donbas. Drones keep smashing Russian armor. The 3rd Assault Brigade, led by Colonel Andriy Beletsky, is digging in and holding the line. If this war were a glacier, it'd still be moving faster than the peace talks. Officially, Beijing says it's neutral. Unofficially, NATO calls China a decisive enabler of Russia's war. Why? Because if Russia's tied up in Ukraine, the US has less time to meddle in China's backyard, the South China Sea. And Beijing's not just cheering from the sidelines. It buys more Russian oil than India, pumping billions into Moscow's war chest. China has to back Russia because it needs cheap energy. It wants a partner to stand up to the US. And if Russia loses, China loses its strongest ally against the West. It's like lending your neighbor a hammer, knowing he's about to break his own window, but you'll need him to help smash someone else's later. Trump's new toy, second-level sanctions. Buy Russian oil? Boom! You get tariffs. China and India are in the crosshairs, Some reports say 100% to 500% tariffs. That's not trade policy, that's a mafia protection rate. Pay up or watch the Donbas go up in smoke. Once upon a time, Putin wanted it all. Crimea plus 4 occupied regions: Luhansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhzhia, and Kherson, and Ukraine banned from NATO. Now, rumors say he might settle for just 2 regions, Luhansk and Donetsk, and let NATO membership wait a few years. It's like starting a bank robbery and leaving with just the free lollipops. Trump gave them 50 days to cut a deal. They blew past it. Only when tariffs were on the table did Putin book his Alaska flight, and Xi suddenly called saying, "Sure, let's talk peace." But if the talks flop, those tariffs land, and both economies choke. The other option? Widen the war, drag in Europe, stir up the Indo-Pacific. When your plan B is World War III, maybe plan A deserves a second look. Thank you for watching PastCast, where the past echoes through today. If you enjoyed the satire, scrolls, and scandals, like, subscribe, and ring the bell before the next empire falls.